Welcome to the Reality of Herbal Therapy podcast. So a couple of days ago, somebody contacted me and asked what to do for hand, foot, and mouth disease. If you're not familiar with hand, foot, and mouth disease, basically it's a virus that attacks the body, and you get like rashes from it, and quite often they'll show up on the palms of the hands, soles of the feet. But because the way the virus is, it also attacks like the buttocks and the diaper area, and so it's pretty common in babies that wear diapers and things like that. It's like I said, it's a virus, so depending on the health of the child, it usually lasts 7 to 10 days. But it's very common that it attacks children. And part of why it's common in children is because it's carried in those sores that form on the hands and the feet. If the sores break open, they ooze, and the virus is really potent in that ooze, but it's also in respiratory. It's also in fecal matter and stuff. So diapers, anybody that is exposed to small children that have it in their diapers, you're exposed to it. So I kind of want to talk about, like if you know your child has hand, foot, and mouth disease, we want to talk about how to make them more comfortable to deal with the issue. It's always hard when your little ones are not feeling well. In hand, foot, and mouth disease, quite often there's a fever. Sore throat usually will come with it. And those sores that I was talking about on the palms of the hands and on the soles of their feet, they also get those sores in their mouth, like on the roof of their mouth and in their throat. So you've got these sores that are breaking open and they're oozing, and it just can be really painful, which causes a lot of irritability in your little guys and stuff. So one thing you really want to notice, though, is it hand, foot, and mouth disease, or is it impetigo? So the sores look very similar. And impetigo, if it's not taken care of, can actually travel into the mouth, so then you're seeing them in the mouth. But so those sores, basically with impetigo, it's dripping out of the nose and as they're breathing out. So impetigo is around the mouth and the nose, and that's a bacteria within the body, whereas hand, foot, and mouth disease is a virus that's attacking the body. And so if they have those sores anywhere else, it's hand, foot, and mouth disease. If it's only like underneath the nose and around the mouth, then it's impetigo. That's always a good measurement to tell which one. Even though a lot of the ways you treat it and deal with it are somewhat similar, the sores and stuff with hand, foot, and mouth can be a little more irritating. And of course, they're in a lot more places. Something to remember with both of these, both hand, foot, and mouth disease or impetigo, is they're both extremely contagious. That whatever is oozing out of those sores is really contagious. So you don't want to be getting any of that on you, or it will spread. So impetigo can spread if your child's constantly picking at them around their mouth, it can spread to other places. But hand, foot, and mouth it's very potent and it spreads really, really fast, and that's why it becomes a problem. And so the person that mentioned it, basically they were saying where they live, there's a lot of kids that that have it right now, because kids are very touchy-feely and they're always touching each other, and so they're in each other's space, and that contagion can pass on from child to child really, really quickly. So I want to talk a bit about how to comfort a child, or there are adults that can get hand, foot, and mouth also. So how to comfort for when you have it, to kind of like relieve some of that discomfort that comes along with it. So like I said, it lasts 7 to 10 days, depending on the health of the person that has it. So for the sores in the mouth, you want to, when dealing with those, there's a few things that you can do. Slippery elm drink is a really common one. that it's a drink with slippery elm and some other spices to make it taste yummy. But what that does is it will coat the sores, and it really helps to soothe the sores. So another thing you can do is chamomile. That chamomile can also be soothing. It relaxes kind of the sores and stuff. But what we really like is red raspberry leaf. You make it into a tea. So you just boil the red raspberry leaves in water for 5 to 10 minutes. And then the easiest way for us that we like to do it is you put it into a spray bottle, and then you have the child or whoever has it open their mouth, and you lightly squirt a mist of that red raspberry leaf. And what that does is it kills the virus, but it also is very soothing, and it kind of washes away and makes it not as potent. And the nice thing is if they have those rashes on their hands and their feet, you can do the red raspberry leaf to kind of cool it off and to stop that itch. Red raspberry leaf is amazing when you've got a rash or a sore or anything like that. It really calms down the itch and stuff. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fever that comes along with it. So generally, you want to watch a fever to make sure it doesn't get too high, but a fever you always treat the same. You can make a cold compress. Basically, you make your tea, elderflower, yarrow, both of those are really good herbs to make a compress with, and you just put it over the forehead. It will help cool the fever. But fection, anytime you have a fever or viral whatever, you want fection. Fection will help. It strengthens your body. It helps your body deal with fections, with viruses and bacterias and funguses. It helps to gives your body what it needs to clear those out. So fection is really key for helping with anything with a fever and stuff. Pain relief, you can make a tea with like peppermint and rosemary, wood betony, something like that. Or if your child's old enough and can take capsules, Throbbies will make a big difference as far as the pain and the discomfort of the hand, foot, and mouth disease. So we talked a little bit about red raspberry for the rashes on the hands and the feet and stuff like that. But another great thing is the Comfrey Gold salve. But what's important to remember if you're putting it on a child with that rash is you want to make sure that you never double dip. We like to use either a cotton swab or something that's soft and gentle, and you put a little bit of the Comfrey Gold salve on that and put it on the sores. But you want to be very careful because of the contagious nature of hand, foot, and mouth. You don't want to get that, what you're getting on on the cotton swab. You don't want to get that on you anywhere, or put it back into your jar of the Comfrey Gold salve. But Comfrey Gold salve is very soothing and it really helps. So some other things to think about, whether it's, hand, foot, and mouth disease or any other viral infection or virus that you're dealing with, is hydration. Hydration is key. Our favorite hydration is tea honey. Tea honey is just 2 parts honey to 1 part vinegar. And that is the concentrate. And then you mix the concentrate. It's generally 1 part tea honey concentrate to 8 parts of water, but you kind of like find your balance, find where the taste that you really like. And then you can get those stick packs of vitamin C. There's several brands, emergency type of thing. And we mix that in with our tea honey. And we also put iodine in that, because the iodine basically helps to attack the virus that's going through the body. The iodine goes straight to the thyroid. And so as the blood passes through, any virus that's in the blood, the iodine will kill it in the thyroid. So tea honey with vitamin C and iodine is really, really, it's a great way to get hydration, but also to kind of help your body deal with that viral infection. Also, like, depending on the sores in the mouth and the discomfort, we talked about the slippery elm drink, but any smoothies that are soothing, or, if you make like a herb tea and then freeze it as ice pops, that's always really soothing. The ice and the feel of those on those sores is always very soothing, and they're easy to make. You can get basically little zip top bags that you fill with your herbal tea, freeze it within a couple of hours and stuff. And our kids always really like that. Another thing that is helpful are baths, giving the kids a bath. We like to put Epsom salt and baking soda in the bath water. You don't want it too warm just because of whatever. And, you don't want to, like, sometimes we'll put kids in bathing suits and let them bathe together. You don't want to do that because those sores are very contagious. But just putting them in the tub and letting them soak for a little bit, that will kind of help relieve it. You can also put like calendula or oatmeal baths. There's other tea baths, lavender baths. You put that in with their bath water, and it's really soothing and stuff. So another thing that it kind of goes without saying, like whenever anybody is sick, lots of rest. Let whoever's got it, let them get lots of rest. If you can have it in a calm, quiet place, like they don't need active and all sorts of crazy TV shows. Just quiet and rest and sleep will help you to. Sleep is when our body deals with toxins and repairing itself and any other thing like that. So those are always really helpful too whenever somebody is sick with something like this. Some important safety things to think about. You don't want to use any harsh chemicals on the sores. Basically, it's just going to make them hurt really bad. Any essential oils, you never want to put direct essential oils on those sores because it will hurt like really bad and stuff. So if you are going to put, say, like tea tree or something like that on the sores, make sure that you dilute it down a bit so that it doesn't add to the discomfort that they're already going through. You always want to watch for, signs of major problems. So like a really high fever, if they start not wanting to drink, other infections and stuff, that's when you want to seek more help. And of course, whenever there's any sort of viral thing, especially with hand, foot, and mouth disease, because it travels in liquids, like, in the whatever's oozing out of the sores, or in when somebody's the breathing, or in saliva or fecal matter, and those tend to stick to the body. So you really want to make sure that you're washing your hands often, especially if you have like a baby that has it on their has it and you change their diaper. You want to wash your hands really good after that, because basically that virus is going to stick to you and either pass on to you or pass on to somebody else. So just as a reminder, Fection for the fever and to kill the infection, tea honey for hydration, along with a vitamin C powder, and iodine, Throbbies if they're in a lot of discomfort, and lots of rest will really help them get over it. And these things, basically, you're just helping them feel better so that their body can deal with the infection and get over it quickly, get over the virus. So, with gentle care and support, your child's going to be back on their feet in just a few days, and they'll be back to their old selves. So if you have any questions, let me know, and it's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. It is not the intent of professional herbal instruction or any persons associated therewith to diagnose or prescribe. The intent is only to offer herbal information for your consideration. In the event you use this information without your doctor's approval, you are prescribing for yourself, which is your God-given right. But professional herbal instruction or any persons associated herewith assume no responsibility. The claims and statements made on this podcast have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.